Alrighty, I'm live. Working on another prompt this morning. I thought I'd go live and walk you through it. This one is a little bit different than the last one. So what we are going to be doing is we're going to be working on a prompt where a sales rep can use it. They click a button in our platform, but they use this prompt to create a clear outline of how they should demo this product to the prospect they're about to meet with, and it uses a call transcript to do that. So let me share my screen here and let's just jump in. And again, like always, I like to do these kind of prompt engineering lives. I'm going to be mostly focused on writing the prompts. I'm going to be here with you guys as well. So if you have questions, post them in the comments. I'll answer the questions. Anything about prompting AI, building agents, things like that, more than happy to talk about. But for the most part, I'm just going to be talking through how I'm thinking about this project. Now, what's cool is I'm really doing this from the beginning. So sometimes when I do this, I have a lot more structure around what I'm trying to build. This time, all I'm working with is this little document that someone on my team created on what they want the output to somewhat look like. The idea here is, can we break down the demo? So if you're demoing a software product, which is the purpose of this, and actually it needs to handle services too. So I'm going to write that down, like services too. It needs to handle service companies too. And we want to break it down into 3 pillars of features or components of an offering. So I want to first get clear about what output would be most useful for the sales rep, so they have some structure for how they demo or they walk through their offering. So that's the first thing I want to think of. And then the next thing I need to think of is what material is required in order to generate this, right? So materials, so this is, I'll call that inputs, which are materials / context that the LLM needs. It's obviously going to be an offering overview. This is going to be a detailed overview of what they actually sell. And then they're also going to need call transcripts. I'm going to put this in plural. It's going to depend on how many calls that they have. And what we're probably going to do is we're going to give the sales rep the option to select how many call transcripts they want in the context window when generating this demo guide. So this is what the inputs we're going to be working with are. And then this here is going to be a demo guide. Now, again, I want to support services as well. So I'm going to call this a sales flow builder. It's like a minor thing. Sales flow builder. Okay. And then I think we have clear inputs here. So I'm going to say outputs. And let's think about the output. So first is, do we want to give an objective, a clear statement of what this demo is meant to accomplish? Probably. I just want this to be one sentence though. So I'm going to say, actually we'll put it up here. So one sentence about what this sales call is meant to accomplish. And we'll do example. And let's say, I kind of like validate, fit, further qualify, walk through. Well, here's what I'm thinking. Like if I'm a sales rep and I'm clicking this thing, it's because I want to know how to walk through my offering. So I don't even know if we need this, to be honest. Like what is this going to add to the sales rep? If you look at this, like, oh yeah, of course that's the objective. I'm the freaking sales rep. I'm doing it. All right. We're not doing an objective. And by the way, that's something to think about too. Whenever you're working on AI stuff, be thoughtful about what you're building and how important is the information. Like we can have the LLM produce a whole crazy report about anything, but is it all that useful? And if you're not going to read a lot of it, or the person you're submitting this to is not going to read a lot of it, and there's smaller parts of it that are more useful, like just get it to output that, right? I don't think we need to overload folks by having this crazy AI output. And that's what I want to be careful of here. Okay. So that's the output section. So setup and framing. This is like, hey, this is, you want to summarize the pain point. So restate the main challenges uncovered during the discovery. So let's just do this. I kind of like having output, setup, and framing. 2 to 3 minutes. And we can say, restate the main challenges uncovered. Main challenges they have. Restate the main challenges they have and confirm that it's a good summary. Let's just say main challenges. Another thing is I don't love changing languages. So like if I'm going to call this a challenge, I'm going to call this a challenge. If I'm going to call it a pain point, I'm going to call it a pain point. So I'm going to do this. Main challenges. We'll do a bullet here. I'll say primary challenge. And then let's just do 1 to 2. Let's do one sentence. The primary challenge plus, we'll actually do 2 sentences, plus 1 sentence on the impact of that challenge. Okay, so that's primary challenge. We're going to do the same thing. And I get like, this is a minor thing, but I like to put these in the square brackets versus the squigglies. I don't know why. I don't think it really matters, but I'm just going to do it the way I like it because that's how I like it. Okay. 1 sentence about the primary challenge, about the secondary. 1 sentence on the impact of that challenge. 1 sentence on the impact of that challenge. Okay. And then we're going to do that for the optional pain. And we're going to call it challenge. I got to change the word optional challenge. So let's do challenge here, challenge here. Okay, cool. So now we have kind of a clear first part of our output. And again, I like this because we're simplifying, right? I just want to give them, like, boom, the pain points that they're experiencing so they can remind them of those pain points. Agenda setting, like, I don't know if I need to write an agenda script for them. So I'm going to delete this. I don't think we need an agenda here. Like the sales rep should know to give a good agenda, right? So I'm going to leave that out. I don't think we need this either. Confirm which pillars demonstrated based on the pains above. On why solving these pains. Yeah, because we're adding that. Maybe I'll use this language. I do like why. So I can say 1 sentence on why solving these pain points matter now for the buyer's business. Let's do that. I actually like that language a little bit better instead of the impact, because impact, this could be written like the impact of this is blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, I want it to be like, why does this matter now? Right now is a good one, I think. Okay, let's do this one as well. All right, perfect. Why this matters. Short statement on why solving these pain point matters now for the buyers. We don't need that. And then internal note. Yeah, so we don't need this at all. I just got a cold text message. Hi, it's Sarah. I know you had a lot of broker outreach wanting to connect directly. How much capital could the business use now? I am getting flooded with these text messages. Like I don't know what's happened, but every like loan shark on the planet has my phone number now. It's brutal. And I have no debt. I'm a no debt guy. I keep telling my business is out of business in hopes that I get off their list, but it's not happening. Okay. So now we have the pillar thing. So the pillar name. So this is the pillar of the solution, right? The pillar name. And actually, I'm going to start constructing a bit of the instructions while we're going here. The sales call should be structured into 3 pillars. Each pillar focused on a collection of features or components of the product or service and tying them to solving the primary, secondary, and any other optional challenges that the prospect is experiencing. So I'm going to call this the prompt description. Okay. And the reason why I do this is I have a prompt that I use to write first drafts of prompts. And I like to work on the output first, then write a prompt description, send that prompt description there. And then we will give it the output. So how I do this is I have this prompt writing prompt. We give it this detailed prompt description. I'm also going to give it this output once we're done with it. And I create this description of the prompt as I'm going through the output. That's what you're watching me do right now. And for those of you just joining, the what I'm working on here is a prompt that writes an overview on how to do a demo or a walkthrough of an offering, and making sure that they tie to all the challenges, etc. Okay, so as I'm going through the output, I'm adding to the prompt description, and that way the prompt that it writes is going to be pretty good. And I might make a couple tweaks to it, but you'll see it in a minute. Okay, so pillar 1, it's the pillar name, purpose/theme, short description of this pillar. Short description's a little vague. What I want here is I want to change this. And what does the rep really mean or need here? Let's just do, I kind of want the why show this. Why show this? And let's just say one sentence on why it's important to walk the prospect through this pillar. And I just want one sentence. Again, I don't like overloading for outputs on prompts. I do not like overloading the output because no one's going to read all that stuff. And they're going to either scroll to the thing that they find important, or what they're going to do is not read the thing at all. And I'd rather just try to get the most important stuff. And then you can tweak the prompt later and make it shorter or longer if you need to. But the vast majority of outputs I get from LLMs are way too long, and we're not using all that stuff, right? So I try to really restrict how many sentences it's allowed to output for certain things. And if you have any questions around prompt engineering or building AI agents, definitely comment them, and I'll answer all of them. I'm mostly working on a prompt for our sales application that allows a sales rep to generate a overview of the product or service that they sell that's custom to the prospect that they're about to pitch to. Okay, so what to show? Feature or capability 1. So obviously I don't need hashtags here. 2, we're gonna do this, what to show, boom. Feature or capability 1. And then I probably want to structure this like this. I'm probably going to do bullets here. And we'll go feature or capability 1, feature or capability 2. And let's just say, that fall into this pillar. So we're going to features or capabilities. We are going to add an instruction here that is around letting the LLM decide how many features belong in a certain pillar. And the goal here is that the sales rep can go like, look, there's 3 primary things I'm going to be walking you through today. Pillar 1, pillar 2, pillar 3. And the reason why I'm doing it in that order is because of X, Y, and Z. And maybe we need to add that here, right? So main challenges, So maybe we need to add something here that really frames this up correctly. Maybe we make this 2 and we say, let's call this like pre-framing. We'll call it pre-framing. So instead of setup and framing, I'm going to say, confirm challenges. And then we'll call this frame conversation. And what I want to do here is I'll say frame conversation, overview the 3 pillars that the rep will be walking through and how it ties back to their challenges. That you will, I'm going to put like that you will be walking through and how it ties back to their challenges. And then we'll give like an example here. So like quote, how should we do this? Let's do, how would I frame this? So we have your challenges here. It's like, okay, great. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to walk you through the 3 primary components of our parentheses product or service to show you exactly how we will solve the challenges we just spoke about. Something like that. Overview. So let's just do like brief overview of the 3 pillars that you'll be walking through. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through 3 primary, I wrote parentheses. And again, and for anyone who's watching live, you're probably just hanging out. But if you have any questions around prompt engineering or building AI agents, I'm happy to answer them. I'm kind of monitoring the chat, but I'm mostly trying to get this done. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to walk you through the 3 primary components. I'm going to show you exactly how we will solve the challenges we just spoke about. That's going to be, and then we'll say pillar 1. We'll say pillar 2. And pillar 3. Okay, cool. I think we're good there. And I'm going to say example. Cool. So this is like a little script it's going to write for them to help them transition from confirming that these are the main challenges that we've surfaced on our previous call to going into the different pillars. We have the clear pillars of the product or service that we're going to be walking through and what to show here. The value to the buyer, I'm going to actually make as sub bullets to this. So what we're probably going to do here is I'm going to go tab and then go, and we're going to say like 1 sentence about how it ties back to the prospect's challenge, ties back to solving. This is going to be pretty rad once we're done, by the way. So then we can delete this and keep this like pretty tight. Demo use case. Let's do a use case. We'll just call it a use case here. And then just say like specific scenario relevant to the buyer. So let's say let's do like 2 to 3 sentences about a specific scenario relevant to the buyer that this pillar impacts. Then we get like a nice little use case here. And this is all for pillar 1. Now we have a call out here, 1 clear value statement tied to this pillars and the buyer's pain. I think we've kind of covered this, right? Like with this prompt here, I think we're going to have enough. Like the sales rep's not an idiot. So I don't know if we need a call out here because we're also how it ties back to solving the problems of the prospect. So I'm going to get rid of this call out. Pillar 2 here. So I'm just going to copy. I want each pillar to be the same, obviously. And this is supposed to be 3, right? So this is going to be 3. You know what? I don't even need, maybe what we'll do is we'll go boom. Actually, we'll do this. I'm going to organize this differently real quick. Frame conversation. And we're going to do confirm challenges. And then let's have a title. So this is going to be the title here. And we'll use this and we'll say, you know, a company name, company name, and then we'll say sales call flow. Cool. I think that's good. It's your sales call flow. Alrighty. So we have this. We have the use cases. Boom. That's pillar one. We're just going to copy this and we're going to replace. Oops. We're going to place pillar two. And we're going to replace pillar three here with our new structure. Okay. And then we have this wrap up next steps, reconnect to main points, briefly summarize the, oh, you know what I want to add here? This is important. Trial close. We need a trial close. So let's do, let's actually do it here. One to three bullet points on a trial close sentence the sales rep can use after walking through this pillar. The trial close must be an open-ended question, not a yes or no. Okay, I'm adding this to every one of them too. That's a really important piece. I'll also say we're probably not going to keep, oh, that's pillar one, pillar two. Oh, wait a minute. I copied pillar one 1,000 times. That's why. Okay. So this is pillar one, use case. We'll add that trial close here. This is pillar two. And this is pillar three. Use cases. Okay, we got that. Trial close. Love it. Now, do we need a wrap up next step section? I don't know if we do. I think this is just strictly, hey, this is the demo or product overview. This is how you need to walk through it. Okay, so we have a really good output here. What I'd like to do next is I'd like to get a little bit clearer on our prompt description. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a little bit more here. So what parts need to... It is very important that the LLM thinks deeply about how to organize the components of the offering from the offering overview into 3 pillars. In some cases, those pillars will have a lot of features or components of an offering into it. In other cases, they will just be centered around one feature or component. For example, if it's a software product and it's helping reactivate past customers for their business, we might have 6 different features that aid in reactivation. But if this is a service company and they're helping their customers improve their messaging on their website, this might just be around how they surface the best possible messaging for them. So it might be more of a messaging workshop. We want to make sure that we have a very, very clear value proposition that's tied to solving the primary challenges. Okay, for those of you who just joined, I saw a couple people jump in. I'm doing some prompt engineering stuff, so stay and watch if you want to learn a little bit more about prompt engineering. If you throw questions in, I will answer them, but I'm mostly just trying to knock this out. This is the purpose of this prompt is to create a sales flow based on a call transcript and an offering overview of a product or service that's being sold. And I've created the output here. And what I'm now doing is I'm writing the description of the prompt, and then I'm going to show you. I have a prompt writing prompt that I use to give me a first draft, and we're going to toss it in there. But okay, so let me make sure I've covered everything. So we talked a bit about the nuance of the different pillars that we're going to be walking through, the trial closes. Let me do this as well. It's also important that the trial closes are open-ended questions, no yes or no's. Questions that typically start with how or what. How do you see this impacting you? What impact do you expect this to have on your team? Those kind of questions. Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to give a little bit of I want to give a little guidance when it comes to the use case section for each of the pillars. It's important that that scenario is pulled from the call transcript and not invented. If there is no clear scenario that you can gather from the previous call or set of calls, then we should not include the use case as part of the output. And I think let's just be very clear about the challenges. There should always be a primary challenge and a secondary challenge, but any other challenge that was experienced by the prospect should also be listed so we can have more than one optional challenge. In addition to that, features or capabilities and the one sentence about how it ties back to solving the prospect's challenge, we should have as many of those as we need under that one pillar. In some cases, there might only be one. In other cases, there might be 5. But I want to make sure that we cover as much as we can based on the offering overview. Some offering overviews will be really detailed with a lot of different features and components of the offering. Others will be a lot more simple, and we need to make sure that we're able to handle both. Finally, the most important thing is the call transcript, because this contains the words of the buyer and what they actually care about. Okay, cool. So that's a long description for our prompt. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to show you how we write first drafts of prompts here. So I have this prompt writing prompt right here. Boom. This is a really long prompt that it has all of the structuring and formatting and also sections that I like in prompts that I create. And I've spent a lot of time tuning this, so it works really well for me. I'm going to run this through this prompt. I'm going to show you how I do that too. It should be pretty fun. Again, for those of you just joining, I'm working on a prompt. We have a sales tool, and one of the features we're rolling out is using AI to create a demo flow. So you push one button, it analyzes the previous sales call, creates a demo flow for a product or a sales call flow for a service, and customizes it based on what pain points came up on the previous conversation. And we're going to write that prompt right now. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy this. You're not going to see this. I'm going to open up a note because we're going to use Claude for this. And when I paste something into Claude, if it's long, it'll like save it as a chunk, which I don't like. So give me a second here. Okay, so I copy and pasted that in. Now we need to give a description of the prompt. So I'm going to say overview of prompt here. And I do a lot of talk to text. I use Super Whisper. So this is just me chatting with it as we were building out what our ideal output looks like, which is where I start. For those of you who are curious, like if you're writing prompts yourself, like I always start with what the output I want. And then I think through what inputs would be required, like what context the LLM needs in order to get to this kind of output. And then I build the prompt around that. So that's what we've already done for those of you who are just joining. And I'm going to say here, below is the structure of the output. Include this output structure in the prompt. Do not change the text of the output structure. Okay. And now I'm going to show you. Let's do this. I'm going to show you how we write this bad boy. All right. So this is our output. We spent a lot of time on this for those of you just joining. We basically spent all of the time working on what the output should look like. Now I'm going to copy this whole prompt here and let's open Claude. I think Claude does a really good job writing prompts. I use different LLMs for different things. I don't usually turn on extended thinking for those of you who are curious. But again, if you have any questions around prompt engineering and stuff, you can throw it in the comments and I'll get to it. All right, let's see what we got here. Generate structured jail call flow. On use cases. Yeah, this is good. I actually like how it organized it like this. Okay, step 1, analyze the call transcript. Here's another thing I'll say, like having these steps are really useful. You get a lot better outputs from your prompts. Like a lot of times if somebody shares a prompt with me that they need help with, the first thing I do is look and see, like, do we have clear steps? And if not, that's where I start. The reason why, here's a little tip for you. If you want to get really good outputs from your AI, what you need to do is give clear instructions to the LLM as if they're a junior employee. So this is a good little rule of thumb. Treat the LLM like a junior employee and make sure that if you're giving them the prompt. It's the equivalent of you giving it to a junior employee, and they'd still be able to give you a good output. Humans are smarter than AI. So you got to, if you can't get a human to do it right, then you're definitely not getting the AI to do it right. So, okay, analyze a transcript. Now, normally what I do is I skim this. If I see anything that I'm like, oh, that's definitely not good, I'll remove it. But I usually make tweaks to prompts after I test the first draft. So let's just skim and see if there's anything I do not like. Group featured into 3 logical pillars. Name each pillar with benefit-oriented or theme-oriented label. Ensure each pillar is clear. Okay. Assign use cases, craft trial closes, compile final output. Okay, great. And then let's make sure they didn't change. Frame conversation. Okay, this is actually looking pretty good. So let's do this. I'm going to put it up here. You guys ready to test this bad boy? Let's test this bad boy. Okay, so we got we have the whole thing here. You know what? Let me just grab an offering and overview and let's figure this thing out, huh? Let's go drive. I have an offering overview. I generally test with Gemini. So Gemini, just so you know, my favorite model is Gemini 3 Flash with Thinking On, which is this Thinking One. Pro is a completely different model. It's very, very powerful. But I honestly find for a lot of stuff like this, it doesn't follow instructions all that well. At least that's been my experience. So I usually stick to this here. So we need the call transcript. Oh, here's another thing I do, by the way. This is just a excuse me, quality of life thing, is if there's something long like a call transcript that needs to go into the prompt, I put it at the bottom because I'm going to copy and paste this offering overview. That'll be short. So if I need to scroll up, I'm not scrolling for my entire life. And I put the call transcript at the end, and I usually paste that at the end too. So I'm not scrolling around like a weirdo. Okay, so let me type in offering overview. Oh, the problem is I'm not going to have a sales call from, I need to do one where I actually have a sales call. Oh, I do have this person. Okay, great. Okay, so we have this. I'm going to put their offering overview here. And then we're going to grab the transcript, which I have in our tool. Give me a second. Let me load that up. You're going to see this is going to be great. You're on the edge of your seat right now. Please just press the go button. Oh, I will. Test. I just did. Oh, okay. It's in one off. Okay, cool. Let me copy this whole bad boy and then we are good. Wait, is this? You know what? I don't know if that is. Give me a second. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, cool. So let's scroll all the way down. I copied this whole transcript. All right, this is my favorite part, by the way. Go. So now we wait, and that's it. Side note, if you have any questions around the stuff, feel free to comment it. I think I probably have 5 more minutes here, and then I'm going to jump. But okay, so here we go. Sales call flow, confirm challenges, restate the challenge primary charge you're currently forced manually. Okay, this is great. Frame conversation. So what we're going to do today is we're going to walk through the 3 primary components of Optify. Whole failure data, and high velocity sales tools. Okay. Cool. And then the sales reps can tweak the language, by the way. Like this is in their offering overview, which is why it's like that. But okay. Okay. Use case, currently your team has to manually export records. Oh, this is great. How would automating the daily sync from Encompass change the way your admin team spends their time? What impact? All right, this is good. This is looking really good. Look at that. Boom, boom, boom. The nice thing is, here's what I want this to be. If I'm a sales rep and I have a call coming up, I can push one button and I can get this type of information. So I can look through and go like, okay, yes, I'm going to show this part. And you might show a lot of these already. Like these might be the same 3 pillars if your product's relatively simple. But to be able to see like what I can show it, why I'm showing it, what they mentioned, and tying it all back, like that's the key thing here. If you can create a little 1-pager as a sales rep to go through before the call, whether you use this as a script, some reps will, or you use this as a way to just like center yourself before the call. That's great. I don't need it to ask a question here. So anyway, this is looking good. I was actually pretty happy with that. So let's go back here, and I'm going to make a couple of tweaks to this over the next few minutes. And then offline, I'll make more tweaks. I got to test this a lot more. Obviously, we just did one. Offering overview. Okay, so here's one thing I did not like. Is it asked a question? Do not output a question or anything other than the exact output structure from below. Okay. I'll just say provided. Cool. So then that way we're less likely to get, I mean, we can even test this. So here's another thing I do, by the way, if you're ever playing around testing prompts and stuff, I never go back and forth with an LLM, or very rarely. What I do is I go back up here, I click edit prompt, because I just want to edit the prompt portion and rerun it and see, one, did I get a consistent output? So that's a really big indicator for me because I want consistency in my outputs. And then the second thing is the one little tweak I made, or the couple little tweaks I made, did it actually make a significant impact here? So I'm going to go here. We're going to go to that last step. All I did was add one bullet to that last step, which is right here. Here's where you put your examples if you like. I got to remove that from our prompt. I'm going to say update here while it's doing that. We don't need an example section for this one. We can over time, like a lot of times I'll add examples after we have examples, usually a good practice. So if you have a lot of examples, I do highly recommend putting examples in there. Okay, cool. Customizing use case. Yeah, this looks basically the same. And what we'll probably do is we'll have a button that they click where they can regenerate the whole thing and get feedback if they want to change any part of it. Rate sheet management. Okay, cool. Would you like me? See, it did it again. This is something that's drives me nuts because I have to put that one instruction so many times throughout the prompt to get it to work right. Another thing we can do here is we can try it with Claude and see how that works. So here's another little trick. Different models are good at different things and better at different things. And some of them, like I find Flash to be really, really good at instruction following, but it didn't follow that little instruction, which is annoying. So what I'm probably going to do here while it's loading that is I'm going to add this here. And it's going to say, I'm going to put this in, whoops. I'm going to put this in parentheses. I'm going to say important. Do not output a question or anything. Okay. I'm sure that'll help. So let's just do another test real fast. Whoops. And then we'll go look and see how Claude did. We use Gemini 3 Flash with thinking for all of our stuff. Just because I'm very comfortable with it. I know how to prompt it well. But we can use different models. And this isn't an example. Like I'm just going to prompt engineer this to get it to work really well with the model that we use. But for certain things that might be, that might require a different LLM, we could totally do that too. But this is not that case. Do not. So we're going to go important. And let's see if it does it. And then let's go to Claude here, go to the bottom. Yeah, see, like, I don't know why, like, how it feels the need to write this. Dang, look, I found way more. That's funny. It's like, oh, show all of this. So like here said, oh, you do duplicate prevention. When creating new accounts, the system checks, First time. Okay. All right, so here's something I just realized. One of the problems with this prompt, look, it did it again. Isn't that funny? LLMs can be tricky. I have a way to solve this, I think. I'm going to get very aggressive. because I hate this. Okay, so I'll explain that in a minute. But here's something that I'm noticing is I don't know, like, did this come up in the call, preventing stepping on toes? Like, do they have, like, I'll ask, like, in the transcript, just see. In the transcript of the sales call, did the prospect mention that they struggle with reps stepping on toes that waste sales managers' time? Okay. Let's see if it was in the sales call. My gut tells me no, it's not. While that's happening, let's add another. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, check this out. Here's another trick that sometimes works is you go to the end of your, the output that you want, and you just say this in a different way. So important, do not add any commentary or ask any question, just output what was above. Let's say based on. Cool, that'll probably get rid of it. Let's try it. So I'm going to copy this. We're going to go to Gemini here. We're going to edit the prompt. Whoops, I keep doing that. My bad. Okay. See, I hate having to scroll through all this, but this is our life now. So we're going to go to the bottom of the output section. And then I'm going to update this and let's see if we get a better output. No, that wasn't mentioned by the prospect. So here's an example. We just did a little bit of testing and I caught an issue. Sure, this is useful to bring up. Like, hey, not going to have duplicates, but I'd prefer if this was like strictly tailored to the prospect. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to our instructions because it says, one sentence about how it ties back to solving the prospect challenge. This must be a challenge that they mentioned experiencing. If not, do actually, let's go a different direction here. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to label it. Label it as came up in the call. Prioritize sentences that are relevant to something the prospect said in the transcript. And label in parentheses that it came from the prospect. If it did not come from something the prospect said in the transcript, do not add that label. Okay, so we made this bullet point crazy long, obviously, but this will get followed. I can promise you that. One sentence. I like, so here's another thing too. A lot of times you put these types of instructions in the steps of the prompt. So I'm going to do that too, just so you can see it. But I also like putting it in the output section. I think it gives good, the output section is usually pretty well prioritized because it's clear instructions on what the output needs to look like. And the LLM prioritizes that, at least it seems to be the case. So I like putting it there too. But right here, when it says map features to challenges, okay, cool. Okay. So let's say like prioritize. I'll just say items that are relevant to something the prospect said in the transcript, label in parentheses or prospect. Okay, cool. This could be great. This could be horrible. We're going to find out right now. So I'm going to copy this and we're going to run this again. And then I got to go. I have to I have a talk coming up in San Diego that I need to create a deck for. Okay, so here we go, user input. So I'm going to go above here, boom. So now we made a pretty significant change to this prompt. I don't think it's going to let me edit this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, copy prompt. We're just going to open a new one just so we keep it clean. And then let's see. Again, if you guys have questions, feel free to comment them. I'm more than happy to answer any questions around prompt engineering if you have them. But okay, so I think we're in good shape. This is looking good. I mean, I feel like this output's pretty strong. There's some inconsistencies that I don't love. Wow. Okay, so this is fascinating. So what happened here, and I bet you this is from this bottom. This is really cool. I'm glad this came up. For anybody watching here, this is, depending on your experience level, this will be pretty interesting to you. Okay, so remember, I was getting mad at it for adding little extra sentences here, right? Oh, that's the thing. I was getting mad because it was adding all these little extra sentences. So what did I do? I did this: do not add any commentary or ask any question, just output based on the output structure above. We have now mentioned output structure a lot in the prompt. We put some above there, and then I added another one here. So if you look, it actually followed formatting that it wasn't following before. And I noticed it when it happened. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I ignored it. But if you notice, I had bullet, sub-bullet, bullet, sub-bullet. And it was not doing it. The couple tests we did, it was not following that formatting. And here it did. And you know what? It's also made this a lot more concise, which I love. So I'm glad that this worked out. Look, it's still doing this thing. Why is it doing this? It like just wants you to... whatever. I mean, we're going to be using JSON and we're just going to parse that out anyway, but here it didn't do it, which is cool. And look, this one followed that Claude followed that formatting better too than the first time that they did it, which is great. Let's see if they did the deduping thing. No, they didn't. I want to see, oh, look, from prospect. Okay, cool. From prospect, current Excel. Great. I love that. All right, cool. So we actually made some pretty good progress here. Let's see how this one, yep, prospect, see prospect. I don't know if that's going to be clear enough. So I might want to, gosh, I'm just going down the rabbit hole, aren't I? Add the label that it came, and label, and let's say from, whoops. I kind of like how it did it, right? It just said from prospect. I kind of like how Claude gave little quotes here, right? But I don't think, we just say from prospect, they're going to understand that, right? The label and label from prospect. I'm going to do a little reminder. Okay, cool. So I'm going to copy this and we're going to, that's all I'm going to do. Oh, actually, I'm going to add that label. We have to update it in 3 places, if you remember. Whoops. Yikes. Okay. And then we have up here, step right here. So I'm going to replace this one, and we're going to say prioritize items, what we called it, right? Prioritize items that are relevant to something the prospect said in the transcript. Okay, cool. And I can get rid of this bracket here. All right. I think we have accomplished our mission. And you know what? I'm proud of us. I think we did some good work today. How long were we live for? Dang, it took me 50 minutes to write that prompt. That's wild. I was probably yapping too much. Okay, cool. Well, but you know what? We did a lot of testing. I feel good about where we're at. This is going to be pretty sweet when it's live. So maybe I'll show y'all that at some point. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully it was a silent crew today, but hopefully you guys got some value from it. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon. Bye.